Morning everyone, it's Audrey Stitchy Witch 42. Today is December 12th, 2021, and this is my channel about cross-stitch life, the universe, and everything. But as you can tell, we have a different point of view here today. Today I'm going to talk about a journal that I created. A journal that I created because of Michelle, Mama Loves You GB. It was her idea for people to create floss drops and exchange them. And I have this ring full of lovelies. This ring full of more lovely floss drops. And a third ring with even more floss drops. And I have more to add to them. So I was thinking about this and I decided that I wanted to create a journal to put one of each floss drop card that I received into the journal so that I could have a record of this adventure. So, shall we get started? This is the journal that I created, and I'm going to talk a little bit about how I constructed it first. When I first got into making journals, I bought 100 manila envelopes, manila file folders off of Amazon. And silly me, I thought I bought the wrong size, so I turned around and I ordered 100 more of a different size. So I have 200 manila folders that I can use for creating journals or bookmarkers, or I have a lot of manila folders to use up. But I thought that I would use a manila folder, file folder, to create the basis of this journal. What I did is I glued two of them together, and then I covered both sides of that manila file with fabric, and then I covered the outside with this lace table runner. I've had this table runner in my closet for 30 plus years. I think it may have been my mom's, but I never use it. So I thought if I used part of it to cover this journal, when I'm going through this journal and looking at all this and remembering all of this, I will have this and I will have a chance to think about my mother. So, open this up real quick. This is the journal opened up, full size. I had to trim down the edges, top and bottom of the lace, and I don't mind having the raw edges there. I thought it looked okay, but I didn't like having them on this edge. So what I did is I took one of the edges that I trimmed off, cut it down to size, glued and sewed it onto here so I have this nice finished edge on this side and this edge on this side, and I think that this looks absolutely wonderful. Glued and stitched some buttons down onto the front of it. One of the ladies, and for the life of me I don't remember who, so I apologize if you happen to be watching this video, make a comment so that I can write your name on your page with the cards. One of the ladies sent me the floss bling and I decided to put it on the front of the journal too. So, shall we open it up and see what I've got happening inside here? Okay, I created 3 signatures. What the signatures are the pages that go within a journal. Each signature has a vellum cover with a photo on it, made from 5 sheets of coffee dyed paper, folded in half. That's 10 pages each side. There's 20 pages that I could put floss drops on. And what I asked Mark to do with this first one here is I asked him to take the image of my floss drop and blow it up and fit it onto half of a sheet of vellum. What I learned in the process of doing that is that when you print on vellum, it will take the ink, but it dries really slowly. And when it's a saturated picture like this, the ink tends to bleed. What I see here is that it has bled all down here and up here on the image. So this image is not as crisp as my card, but that's okay. It's my journal. And this is my title page, The Great Flossdrop Trade 2021. So on my first page here, I wrote a note that says, it started with an idea. What would happen if fiber crafty people made and exchanged floss cards? It went global. Thank you, Michelle, on YouTube, Mama Loves UGB, and on Instagram. I was late to the game. So let's go through and see what I've done with my journal. So the first page here, the very first Flossdrop cards that I received were from Lisa Greenwood, the Silver Stitcher. And I love her cards. Has an image of the moon with a hand holding it there. And I thought, I wonder what would happen if I tried to use some of the vellum to make a pocket, because you can see through the vellum. Well, if you pick the right glue, it looks pretty good, and if you don't pick the right glue to put the vellum on the page, you hide it with washi tape, because those things happen. The next one I got was from my friend Lori McCleary. Now, I know that these were my first two cards, simply because I know that. All the others are not in any particular order. But I know that Lori likes to make quilts, and she collects antique sewing machines. So I found an image of a diagram of an antique sewing machine, and I put it on her page. I put her card on a little brad, so it flips up and out of the way, and I can see the back of it. That was one of the things that I wanted to make sure that I could do, is that I could see the back of each card to know who it was from. And then I put this little circle here just to catch it. And this is my first 2 pages in my journal. Now, my next page here. This is from Daleen Wilson, and I've got her address covered because I used part of her envelope to make the little band that holds the Maisie Nose cards. And because I told the story about the dog drool, I had to put some floss in here. So I put some blue silk floss in here just as a reminder to me of the story I told about my sister's dog Abby drooling and catching leaves in her drool. This is my Maisie Nose. It is one of my favorites. The next page has a card in here from Karen. Not only did she send me Flossdrop cards, but she made this beautiful, beautiful card here. And so I put it in here, and I used part of the envelope because she had written a note on the back of the envelope saying, I washed my hands before, during, and after I made you this card. And this is her Flossdrop card. So while with some of them I used parts of the envelopes to hold the cards in place, some of them I included the cards that were sent with the Flossdrops. I didn't do that with all of them because this would have gotten just too bulky. My next page here has 2 Flossdrops from Stitcher Vicky on Instagram. And again, I used the vellum to make the pockets to hold these in place. She sent this one with this cute little dog, and then this one that shows some of her cross-stitching. And again, I can take each of these out and look at the back of them and see if there's any information on there. On her envelope, there was this fantastic stamp of a Narragansett turkey. I've never had a turkey stamp before, so I had to add that in my journal. The next one, and I know you're seeing glare from the ring light up above me. I apologize for that. But without the ring light, you wouldn't be able to see this at all. So this next one came from Anna, who is Not a Sock in Sight on Instagram, and it came from Belgium. She sent these 2 lovely cards. And in her package was this little holder here to keep them separate, to keep them flat in the envelope. Plus this fantastic stamp from Belgium. So I used what she had sent to create the holders for my floss drops in my journal. Turn the page. The next one is from Barbara, who is the Raspberry Stitcher on Flosstube and Instagram. And I tried to write as much information as I could about these people in here just so that I would remember who they were all from. Barbara is the Raspberry Stitcher. Her card obviously has raspberries on it. I went through my papers. I found an image that looks like it has a berry, not a raspberry, of course. And then I added some purple washi tape because I know purple is her favorite color. This one is from Wendy, who is Threadtails on Instagram. And she had included this little fabric tag in here, and of course I wanted to include it in my journal. So I used her card as a way to hold this tag in place, and then I put the vellum inside so that I could show her card here. And I love the way that turned out and the way that looks. Some people sent little extra things with their floss drops. I loved all that stuff and tried to incorporate as much as I could. My next page here, this is from Jo. She is Stitching Prepper on Instagram. Her card was very simple, pinks and greens, still a lovely card to look at. And it says, Flosstube is my Saturday morning cartoons. So I went through my washi tapes and I found that I had some that matched her card, added a little bit to decorate the page there, and then I took some of the pattern tissue and just made a little ribbon that I added to the side here to decorate this page. This is also the middle of this first signature, and as you can see, I used an elasticized band to hold them in place. Part of the reason I did that is because I can slip these out of here when I'm adding more floss drops to my journals. This next one here is from Sally, who is Sally Annie McGundy on Instagram, and she had lots of good things on her envelope. There was washi tape and there was stickers, and I peeled everything off that I could. Inside was another little envelope with more washi tape and a little card explaining what the image on her floss drop was. And I thought that was a fantastic idea, so thank you so much, Sally. The next two are from Edwina. And again, I used part of the envelope with her address on it to make a little band to hold this in. I used a brad to hold those two together, and she had a little sheet of cardstock that she had written a handwritten note on there. So I punched a hole in that, put the brad through all three of them, and then that makes it so that they just hang in there and they're easy to remove. Her two cards show Witchy Washi and a Mill Hill kit that she personalized and made it into Edwina's needle shop. She is Shebang101808 on Instagram. Stacy, who is Stacy B on Instagram, sent me this beautiful, beautiful card. It has got some black work on it. Everything is bees. There's bee skeps. So I used part of her envelope. I tore out her note and embellished it here. Added a Be Yourself stamp. And that's the page for Stacy. This one, the raccoon. Well, if you know, the raccoons like to play on the roof at my house. So I had to do something special with this one. And I know that raccoons like to steal things because, well, they do. So I stole some of the thread from Sally's package and added it to the floss drop here. I had to make sure that I included the stamp from the package because this is from Philin69 on Instagram, who is Andrea, because they're down in Australia. Like I said, Michelle came up with an idea and it went global, and I love it. My next two are from Candy, who is knit_quilt_angora_addiction on Instagram. And her cards are double-sided. They have this lovely little girl on the one side, and they have this other little girl on the other side. And I know because of the way the brad's in there that you can't see the second little girl's face, but I can. My plan is to take these floss drops that I have and move all of my fancy floss onto them. I don't have a big stash of fancy floss. I'm sure I probably won't use half of all the floss drops that I have, but I'm going to enjoy each and every one of them. The next one is from Jennifer, who is Dreaming of the Northwoods on Instagram. Again, a simple little card. I added some green washi tape here and a sticker. Thank you, Jennifer. Then I got one from Angie, who is Tiny House Stitcher on Instagram. Cute little dog with some floss here. I put her card in here because, again, I used a brad, just stuck a piece of paper behind it, and so it holds on to her card so that I can see her card and remove it when I want to see who this is from. And because she's the Tiny House Stitcher, I was going through an old magazine and I found this pattern of a tiny house, and I thought that I would add it to it because this is what we do when we journal. And my last one in this signature is from Nanette, who is Nanette's McDougal on Instagram. This is the card with the goat. I came, I saw, I forgot what I was doing, retraced my steps, and got distracted on my way back. I have no idea what's going on, and now I have to pee. I giggled when I read that. And in that same magazine that I found the house, I found a pattern with a goat. So, yeah, goats. Totes my goats, right? Okay, that was bad. I can't help it. That's the end of my first signature. On the second signature here, I had Mark print an image of a lot of the envelopes that I received them in. Tried to make sure that I had addresses covered. And then we're going to open up the second signature here. I left the first page blank purposely. And then I've got two cards here from Lisa, who is Lady Huzzah on Instagram. We've been watching Catherine the Great. All I gotta say is you should watch it too. She sent me two different style cards. Both of them are samplers. In that same magazine that I found the other two patterns, I found this pattern with letters on it, and I thought, what a perfect piece to embellish this page with some lovely sampler cards. And I'm trying to cover her address if you haven't figured that out. The next one is from Therese, who is Sandpiper CA1 in Canada. She included a little card here explaining that the image on her floss drop cards are the provincial flower of BC, Canada. So that looks lovely. My next page, I've got three on here held together on a brad. These are from Stacy, who is 911 Stitcher, and everybody should know who Stacy is. But I've got one here with the wooden clogs on it. There's one here with crocheted Afghan. And then the third one that she sent was not really a floss drop. It's more like a business card that has all of her information on there. So again, on a brad with a piece of paper, just tucking it into a little pocket so that they are there, easily accessible and visible. Barb, who is Sampler Bee on Instagram, sent me this lovely card. So I found some images, some washi tape and an image and a bee to embellish this page. Gorgeous floss drop cards. All of them have been. And then my next page is from Nicia, who is Quilty Bee 73. There's a lot of bees on Instagram. Stacy Bee, Quilty Bee, Sampler Bee. Yeah, lots of bees. She had included this little bag inside with her floss drop card inside there. It had a couple other little embellishments on it, but because they were too bulky, I removed them. But I still put that in there. Found yet another pattern out of that magazine to add a little bit to the page. And I think it's a lovely way to have it all there. Then Ramona, who is Ramona WB on Instagram, I included her card in here because she tells a story in it about why she stitched this sampler. And I thought that it would be appropriate to keep that card in here. Again, in a little vellum pocket. The pattern on this card is "This House is Love." So, another one that came to me from Australia is from Gabrielle, who is Gabrielle Stitches on Instagram. Hers has some pumpkins on there, some Halloween stitching. So I found a piece of ephemera that I had. I stamped a pumpkin on there. I did some postage stamps on there and some postmarks on there and a little plane because it flew from Australia. Thought it was a great way to embellish this card. Felicia X Stitch on Instagram sent me this one with the tiny ballerina. And her envelope had birdhouses and birds on it. So yet again, in that same magazine that I went through, I have a pattern here with a bird. Thought I would add that to help embellish this page, and a little bit of washi tape that has Christmas, holly, and birds. And for right now, the last one that I have in my journal, because there's still more sitting over here, is from Susan, who is X Stitch Fancies on Instagram. First of all, I had to add this card in here because it has a hummingbird on it, and I love hummingbirds. And her card has a sheep and a bee skep and some bumblebees. And this is the center of this signature. And like I said, because I have more, I will be able to take this signature out, add them to it, and then slide it back into place. So right now I have 1.5 signatures full with these to add to it. And then I have my third signature, which I took all the Flossdrop cards that I had. I laid them out on my desk here. I took a picture of that, and that was the image that I had marked print on this sheet of vellum for this signature. So I still have more room for more Flossdrops. I still have more to send out. If you're interested in exchanging a Flossdrop cards with me, I would love to exchange with you. I added some beads to the outside because I thought this had to be pretty. And I think that this journal is a great way to keep track of all the Flossdrops that I have received so far, and I hope to receive some more. From Karen, I received a wonderful card, got this yesterday, and these are the Flossdrops that she sent me. Try to keep these all together so I don't lose track of anything. This is from Judy, who is Judy0712 on Instagram, and she sent hers in a little wax paper, so I will figure some way out to incorporate that in my journal. A few people sent me Christmas cards with theirs, and this is from Deb. Look at those. Absolutely gorgeous. This is from Shelley. Stitching Shelley. Again, beautiful, beautiful cards. And the back of the envelope, I think I'm going to use this flap right here to make the pocket to hold them. that was my original idea. I think I will continue to do that. And then from Jody, I got these beautiful cards. So I have had so much fun swapping these cards out and creating this journal to remember this journey of part of my cross-stitching life. I hope that you have enjoyed this. I hope that you watched through the whole thing. I hope that maybe it inspires you to make something like this, because this was made from 2 manila folders. I just measured it out, cut it out to size, covered it, used elastic bands to hold the signatures in place, and it's just a great way to keep track of everything that I've done so far with this great Flossdrop trade. So, until next time, and I'm actually going to be recording a second video today that's cross-stitch, so until then, so long everyone, bye-bye.